Hi everyone, I am Dr. Rahul Gupta. I am an interventional and preventive cardiologist and I am attached to Fortis Hospital, Hinduja Khar, and I have my own clinic at Vashi, which is Cardium Clinic. And at the onset, I would thank the organizers for inviting me for this heart talk to answer some of the most pertinent queries related to the heart. And all of us know that the heart disease is increasing, it's on the rise. The most alarming part is that the young people are also getting heart attacks, and we are seeing an alarming increase in the number of heart attacks. Now, so these were the some queries which have been sent to me on the WhatsApp that people wanted to know. And the first question is, how do you define a healthy heart? So heart is the most hardworking muscle in the body. It keeps on pumping day in and day out. The moment it stops, we know that we are no more. And it consists of the heart muscles, the valves, the blood supply to the different organs which goes to the pipeline. So it's basically a cardiovascular system. And when we talk about the healthy heart, we talk about the contractility of the heart. So proper contractility, proper relaxations, the valves functioning normally, the blood supply to the heart itself, which is through the arteries, is normal, and all the pipelines which are connected to the heart and supplying the different organs are also normal. And when we talk about the normal cardiovascular health, we also talk about having a normal blood pressure, having the normal cholesterol values. So somebody who is able to perform his normal activities and good physical activities without any problem and without any these risk factors has a good and healthy cardiovascular system. Now, if we look into the second question, what is a heart attack, or why some people get a heart attack? Now, heart attack is a situation where there is a decrease in the blood supply to the heart muscles. So the heart is a very hard working muscle, and it has got different blood supply. If you look at this organ, this is the structure of the heart, this is how the heart looks like, and these are the different veins and arteries which are carrying the blood supply to the different areas of the muscles, different areas of the heart, and there are about 3 arteries. Now, whenever there is a decrease in the blood supply to the heart, suppose this is the artery, this is LAD, and suppose this the blood supply to this artery is hampered, the area which is supplied by this artery start getting less blood supply, and this is the area of heart attack. So what happens during the heart attack is that one of the block which is there, suppose there is a block which is 70% or 80% block in one of the arteries, during the time of heart attack there is a crack or a rupture in the block, and because there is a rupture, there is a blood which oozes out and suddenly it blocks the artery. So when there is a sudden block in the artery and sudden decrease in the blood supply, the person is not able to tolerate, and he gets various kind of symptoms like heaviness in the chest, heaviness, choking in the throat, sweating, perspiration, all of these. He can become unconscious. So these are the manifestation of the heart attack. Okay, so it's just like, if somebody has a cut on the hand, the blood can ooze out and form a clot. So similarly, when these pipelines, they already have a block, and when they get a cut, there's a oozing of the blood which causes the decrease in the blood supply, and this is how it happens. Now let's go to the third question which somebody has asked, that is heart attack the only problem of the heart, or there are some other diseases of the heart? So yeah, very pertinent questions, and the most commonly talked about heart disease is heart attack because it is increasingly very common in very young people. But then there are various structures of the heart. So we have this heart muscle, so there can be damage to the heart muscle even without a heart attack, which is called as cardiomyopathy. Then there are valves inside, so these are the valves are the gate, so there can be either the leakage of the valve or there can be blockage in the valve, so the valves are not able to open. So these are valve related disease. Then similarly, the heart beats at a particular rate, so there can be diseases related to the electricity of the heart. So there can be an increased electricity of the heart which are called as tachyarrhythmias, tachycardias, and there can be the manifestation is like palpitations and all, or there can be a decrease in the heart rate, so which are called as bradycardias, where the electricity becomes so slow that the person keeps on becoming unconscious, becomes very symptomatic, and you need to put pacemakers in these kind of people. So heart attack is the most commonly encountered disease which we keep hearing about, the heart attacks, the angioplasties and bypass and all those things. So when we talk about heart disease, we talk about all these diseases because this is something which is very much preventable, this is related to our lifestyle, and this is increasing. So when we talk about heart disease, we are commonly talking about the heart attack, but then these are the other areas, and especially in children and all, we know that there can be holes in the heart which are the birth defects. But when we talk about heart attack, it is a completely different thing. So now let us look at a very good question somebody has asked me, and this question is, sometimes even a healthy person die of a heart attack, is it possible? So this is something which is very alarming, and this we keep seeing, we keep hearing, and sometimes we discuss, oh my God, we met this person and he was completely all right yesterday. I had a cup of coffee with him. We went for a walk. How did this happen to this patient that he died suddenly? Now, this happens in people who have got unstable blockages. So, a blockage will produce symptoms only when it has become very severe. When I say severe, when it has become more than 70-80%, that is the time when the person will start experiencing the discomfort. We will discuss in certain questions what are the symptoms of blockages in the heart. But suppose the blockage is only 50% or 60% or less than 70%, person won't get any kind of symptoms during normal activity. So he's walking, he's running, he might be going on a treadmill and he is absolutely fine with it. But if this person harbors an unstable plaque or unstable block, this unstable block, as I told you, the mechanism of heart attack has got a very thin membrane which is covering the block. So this thin membrane can get ruptured, the clot can form, and when the clot occludes the artery suddenly, a lot of area is hampered, and that is the timing when the person will experience a heart attack. So somebody who is completely asymptomatic but has a blockage which is not very severe, moderate grade, say about 50-60%, but it will not produce usual symptom, but when it ruptures because of its instability, it can cause a heart attack. So when we call a person as normal, he is so called normal, but actually from inside he is not normal. And I read the questions which have been put. I will answer them, that how one can make oneself a heart attack proof. Let us go to the other question. Now the other question is it possible for a person to live a normal life after getting any heart related problems? And I can tell you, if somebody, this is a very good question, that whether a person can be healthy after having a heart disease. He can live a completely normal life. There have been various patients who have suffered, my own patients who suffered a heart attack, but then they took timely treatment, and now they have actually ran marathon also. So that's what I want to tell you. A person who suffers a major heart attack, but if timely treated and if he follows a good lifestyle, he can even run marathon. Now there are certain limitations. Suppose somebody develops a heart attack and his heart is very weak, he will keep on developing symptoms. So there would be certain limitations to the activities. But if he follows a good healthy lifestyle, if he follows what the doctor is advising, if he monitors himself, if he restricts himself in taking the food and whatever restrictions have been told, these patients can really live a completely good quality of life. I would say that the person who recovers their heart function can actually live like a normal person, while others with a damaged heart can still live with a normal function, but they with certain limitations. Now there is another question, that how do we differentiate whether all chest pain is because of the heart attack, or there can be chest pain without the heart attack? This is also a very good question. Now many people come to me, many patients come to me, when they come to my clinic, come to the hospital, they say, I am getting a chest pain on the left side, so is this a heart attack? Now there are various structure on the chest. If you look at the chest, there is a heart wall, there is a muscle, there is a bone, there is a joint. So any pain either in the muscles or in the joint or in the the bone can cause a kind of pain in this area. There can be acidity problem which can also cause burning in this area. So all of this can a person can feel that whether this is a heart related problem. But I would like to tell you that how would you differentiate whether this is a heart related problem or this is not a heart related problem. Sometimes it is difficult for us also to differentiate whether it is a heart related problem or not a heart related problem, but I will tell you just the common things. Somebody who gets pain or discomfort, say the discomfort could be heaviness in the chest, could be choking in the throat, could be retrosternal burning, could be pain in the arms, left arm or the right arm, pain in the jaw, especially coming on exertion. So when somebody is exerting, when I say exerting, means somebody is climbing stairs, somebody is walking fast, somebody is walking uphill, then at that time the heartbeat increases as a function to require pump more blood supply to the muscles. The heartbeat increases, and when the heart is beating harder or heart is beating more, it is working harder and it requires more fuel for itself, so it requires more blood for itself. And at this time, if there are blockages in these patients, these persons, there is a demand supply mismatch. So there is more demand, but the supply is restricted because of these blockages. At these time, these symptoms would come. So typically a pain or a discomfort or a breathlessness or tiredness which comes on exertion or more activity and gets relieved when the person is resting, until proved otherwise, has to be considered arising from the heart. So it could be pain in the arms, pain in the throat, pain in the jaws, pain in the chest, pain in the back, especially coming on exertion and relieving with rest, has to be from the heart until proved otherwise. So this is one thing which we need to, any kind of pricking kind of pain which is present at the rest, not related to exertion but increasing on movement and all, is likely to be muscular. But whenever there is a confusion, we should always reach to a doctor, take an ECG, take his advice, and then we should decide whether this is heart related or not. You should never be in a denial, because I have seen patients with heart disease who keep on having typical pain, but they just deny that probably this is acidity, this is burning, they avoid going to doctor, and when they present late, sometimes it can be really harmful. So now let's go to another question, and people are asking me, so there are many questions which are almost similar, so I'm just trying to search out. So they say, what are the treatment options available for a patient who has got heart disease? I would say there are about 4 or 5 options which are available. The simplest option for treating any kind of blockages is the medications alone and a good lifestyle, which has to be there. Sometimes, most of the time, we can treat these patients with just medicines and the good lifestyle. Then more than that, we have angioplasty, which is a non-surgical procedure where you just put the stent and open up the blockages which have become very severe. And then there is something called as bypass surgery, which all of us know, where the blocks are not removed, but it's an open heart surgery where you create new pathways, and that's how the blood supply is restored in the body. Now there are certain new technologies which have come up, which are wonderful technologies, and these technologies are enhanced external counterpulsation, which is called as EECP, and the other technology is ESMR, which is extracorporeal shockwave myocardial revascularization. Now these two technologies are wonderful technologies. They are completely with zero side effects, and they are given to people who cannot undergo angioplasty or bypass, and who are suffering, who are having severe diseases, but these two procedures cannot be done, and we want to relieve them of their medications, we want to relieve them of their sufferings. Then they can undergo these procedures. Are very simple, done on OPD basis. One requires 35 days of course, the other requires 9 days of 9 sittings, and they are done without giving anything internally and can be done on the external basis. But we have to categorize, we have to see which patient will benefit from which therapy. So we usually use a heart team approach in difficult cases, heart team approach where the doctor is there, the surgeon is there, the patient relatives are there, and when we discuss the pros and cons, so that the outcomes are magnificent. Now I would just not go much beyond the time. Somebody has asked that, what would you say about how to live healthy and how to make yourself completely free from heart disease and not develop heart disease in future. So this was I would take this as a last question. And I would suggest, which has been proposed by me earlier also, that there is a 6E concept. If anybody can follow this 6E concept, he can remain healthy very well. So I am just going to enumerate the 6E, and please I would request that start following the 6E. It is very cost effective, it is without any cost, and you can live a wonderful life. And this 6E which I am going to tell you can reduce the incidence of heart attack by 80%. It can make you literally heart attack proof. So this 6E are, first E is your eating habits. So now this eating habits, there are 3 things which we have to remember about this eating, or 3 or 4 things. One is healthy eating. All of us know what is healthy and what is unhealthy. So healthy stuff is all which is less sugary, less salty, less oily. So all these things we have to avoid, and more of fiber diets, more of whole grain products, more of fruits, vegetables. All these things categorize into a healthy stuff. Avoiding junk food and all is very important. So healthy eating is important. Second is timely eating. See, even if you are eating healthy food, but if you are not eating timely, again that beats the purpose, because when you are not eating timely, body is under stress. So try to fix your timing. Especially never miss your breakfast. Keep the breakfast should be the most important meal and the heaviest meal, and dinner should be the lightest and little early. We tend to take the dinner the maximum and take dinner very late, which is wrong. So if you want to maintain our good body shape and good body health, so breakfast should be like this, lunch should be little less, and then the dinner should be the least. So you get a V-shaped body, and that's what we all of us want. Third thing, and extremely important, and it is equally important as healthy eating, is eating peacefully. So when you are in peace of mind, when you are relishing your food, it is the end product of the food is very good. If I give you an example, if you just try to close your eyes and think that somebody is putting a lemon in your mouth, you will immediately have salivation in your mouth. So that's the impact of thought power. Even if nobody has put a lemon, but still you get salivation. So when you are peaceful and when you are relishing your food, the kind of digestive enzyme juices which are secreted are very good and you get a healthy impact. Now coming to the second E, which is exercise. Again, three things in exercise. One is your cardiovascular exercises, which include running, jogging, brisk walking, cycling, anything which will increase the heartbeat. This you should do at least 30 minutes to 45 minutes every day for at least 5 days a week. Second is toning. So you need to tone your muscles. So muscles should be tight. It is very important for your metabolism inside the body. So how do you keep your muscles toned? You can take little bit of weights. You don't need to build up your body. You don't need to do bodybuilding, but you can just tone up with light weights. You can use your own body weight to tone up these the bigger muscles like the thigh muscles, the shoulder muscles, the chest muscles. All of this you can just do by using your body weight as we do it in yoga. And the third part is stretching. So you should stretch all your joints. You should rotate all your joint. You should move your shoulders. You should turn and twist, because turning and twisting all helps to remove the toxins. It improves the circulation. It removes the stale blood and it from the organs and makes the circulation well. So very important. So remember these three things about the exercise. Now third E is your emotional health. It is extremely important. These days I have seen people ask me that this person was exercising daily, was eating healthy, how did he suffer from the heart attack? And I ask a simple question, is he under stress? Yes, he is under tremendous stress. He's not sleeping, he's too much working. He pays time to his exercise, but he's working too hard and he's taking a lot of stress. So your emotional health is extremely important. Now in emotional health you should be happy, optimistic and very positive. So every thought in your mind should be positive. And believe me, if you start following that mantra that whatever has happened is for good, whatever is happening is for good, and whatever will happen for good, I think most of your anxiety can be removed. So your emotional health is very important. Now fourth E is exit addictions. Now many of us are addicted to tobacco, smoking or alcohol. So you have to remember, or any kind of addiction, you have to remove it, because if you exit this addiction, you are again reducing the chances. At the same time, I would tell passive smoking is equally dangerous. So somebody, if you're standing with a friend who smokes, I think that is also dangerous. Fifth E is enough sleep. Most of the people these days in lifestyle, busy lifestyle, urban lifestyle, they get up early, they come late, and they don't have time, they are not enough sleeping, because sleeping is the process where all the repair work happens. So typical sleep is about 6 to 8 hours, and you should see that you are able to sleep for that much amount of time uninterrupted. Suppose you snore a lot, you have a disturbed sleep, you are not feeling fresh in the morning, you feel lazy all throughout the day, and you tend to fall asleep just like that when there's no work. That means there is a problem related to your sleep, and you should consult and you talk to your cardiologist so that he can guide you for proper sleep training and maybe some sleep studies. Now coming to the sixth E, which is again very important, is examining your risk factors regularly and treating them. Why I'm saying examining your risk factors regularly, heart related risk factors, because most of the heart related risk factors are silent killers. They don't produce any symptoms, be it blood pressure, be it diabetes, be it high cholesterol. None of these have got symptoms of their own, and we are under that myth that if we have blood pressure we should get some kind of symptoms, but believe me, 80% of the people don't get any kind of symptoms. So until unless you evaluate your risk factors, you will not know that you have them. So my sincere request to all of you that whenever you should evaluate your risk factors regularly, and if you find some abnormality, try to treat them. And my approach is very simple. My approach is, and that's the approach which everybody likes and which everybody follows, is that begin with the natural means first, with your lifestyle, with your diet, with your exercise. Yeah, and if they are not helping, then you should definitely take medications, and you should not shy away from medications. Medications are extremely safe when they are given properly in a proper amount, and you should not decide on your own that I am now feeling better, so I should stop these medications. So that's what you should follow about this 6C. And believe me, if you follow this 6C, the evidence shows, the study shows that you can reduce the incidence of heart disease by almost 80%. There are some additional tests like genetic testing, which we do at our clinic also at Cardium, where we try to find out whether you have some genes which are predisposing you to some kind of heart disease, heart attack, sudden death, risk of blood pressure, what kind of diet will help you, what kind of medications can help you. So those advanced tests are also available to us. The only thing is we should be aware about all these things, and we should be willing to go and check ourselves. It has been rightly said that you should visit a doctor not when you are ill, but you should visit a doctor when you are completely healthy, because if you are healthy, and you visit, you will prevent ill health. So you should not shy away, you should not be afraid, you should go and check yourself. So this is my final concluding message, and I wish all of you a healthy heart. We should take it as a mission. We should see that everybody of us become a completely, heart healthy, and this is completely preventable. That's what I want to emphasize, that this is a lifestyle disease. If we improvise our lifestyle, whatever 6C I have told you, if you follow them, believe me, this society is going to become heart disease free, and we don't want any more deaths in young age, and we don't want any early deaths. Nature is something which does everybody, which does disease to everybody, but let it not be premature, let it not be early, and let us pledge for a healthy heart. I pledge for my healthy heart. Whatever the timings are, I want to exercise daily, and I think all of you pledge for a healthy heart. So all the best to everybody, and wish you, everybody of you, a healthy heart. Thank you.